going on? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and this is Big Games BS brought to you by D Media Group, presented by dhumidor.com. Man, it goes so much better when I have coffee. Like I just realized that. Like that just popped out just real quick like that. And we have no camera right now. Okay, now we're good. dhumidor.com, the go-to website for all things tobacco related. Go get your cutters, your torches. Damn, that shit coffee. Hold on, let me sip this. Damn, something always messes up. Cutters, torches, humidifiers, humidiboxes, all kinds of different things. Your favorite cigars. Go in there, type in Sports Den at checkout, and you get an extra 20% off. If you spend over $150, you get free shipping across the county in the United States. Christmas is coming up. What better than to get that man in your life what he really, really wants, and that's some good old-fashioned tobacco. So go get him that. Get inside the world's greatest cigar lounge. Now, the cool thing about all of my sponsors is that you don't have to just come in and just pick stuff. You don't know what they like, but you know what everybody likes? Booze. And you can get booze and cigars here and buy a gift certificate for Goodfellas Cigar Lounge. Just come on in here. Everybody knows your name. We got food. We've got all kinds of different things. Live music. Best place you can come. Everybody has a vibe. We chaperone ourselves. We police ourselves. It's kind of like going to a speakeasy. Everything's here with a mob twist. So love it. Come check out Goodfellas Cigar Lounge. This is where we bring our show each and every time we do it. Need to get some live shows going. I did send you the thing, Miles, right?
The email,
yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not even gonna hold you. I just checked in. I had to start a little late because I had to check in my flight. With American Airlines, I fly down to Miami tomorrow. Miami Hate Week rivalry. Love the rivalry. Played in it. Scored numerous touchdowns in this rivalry. And one of the things that I want to bring up is just where we are and how we got to this. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because there's a lot of things that have been going on. And a lot of people are like, James, why does your show just stick to sports? And I'm like, well, y'all don't ever tell athletes to stick to sports. And this week has been very true. You don't tell people, you pick and choose when you want athletes to have a fucking opinion and when you don't want them to have an opinion. But it's all pertinent, especially when opinions take them away from sports. But there are big games happening right now. Miami Hate Week. Nobody has been more disappointing than Miami Hurricanes and in particular their fans. A big game boomer who loves to make controversy and has figured out how to trick the algorithm made a top 25 most disappointing teams in college football. And you know what? The only time Miami's been ranked number one in almost 20 years is in Big Game Boomer's poll. The Miami Hurricanes are ranked the number one most disappointing team in college football. And I agree. If you would have listened to all the stuff happening this summer, we got money. We over here, broke boys. We got the talent. We got these transfers coming in. We got this coming in. We're spending money. We got Mario. Mario's getting the best assistants. Mario's getting Lane Kiffin. Mario's getting this guy. Mario's getting this person. For them to get all these hires and then say, oh, these hires are the best. Oh, this is the good. Oh, we got Gaddis. We got this. To then say, oh, well, it's going to take a little bit of time. To completely retract and just say, oh, this is a rebuilding year. You went from saying you were going to make the college football playoffs to this is a rebuilding year. And you talk in manners in which act like that you act like we don't remember this. We know you. We remember this. ESPN matchup indicator gives Florida State a 61% chance to beat the University of Miami. FSU is favored by a touchdown. And the matchup is the only time that Miami will probably be on prime time for the rest of the year because every time they've been, they have been disappointed. In fact, it might be the only time that they're on a platform that can nationally broadcast their show. Broadcast their game. And it's sad. It's sad. Miami is 4-4, could very easily be 2-4. Florida State is 5-3, could very easily be, should very easily be 7-1 or 6-2. And it's a matchup where Florida State is better in every category than the University of Miami, and this has not been this way in quite some time. I've gone on shows. I went on Mark Rogers. We had Sporadics. You can go hear my point. We got a chance to have a good debate. Finally, a good debate with Cam Underwood, who does Underwood Sports and writes for it covers the Miami Hurricanes. And it was sad because every other time that I've got on with Cam has been contentious because that's what Cam actually knew. But now it was sad because you saw a guy coming to the realization that his team is terrible, that they're ass, they're dumpster juice, that everything that they thought that they were going to be good in, they're no longer good in. You saw a guy who realized that the dike is really not that good, and then Jeff Garcia and Ja'Curry Brown aren't any better. You saw a guy come to the realization that he has a running back in Rooster that is very small, with an offensive line that is not very good. He called his two. This is not me. You can go on Mark Rogers and check this out yourself. He said his two linebackers are very slow or step slow. He said their DBs, one Tyreek Stevenson might be good, but sometimes he's not. Again, this is not James Coleman's analysis of the once feared Miami Hurricanes. This is a Miami Hurricanes beat writer, and Cam Underwood stated this. Cam also stated that their strength is their D line, but their D line is doing pretty good. I think they give about 2.5 yards rushing per game, except for when they don't. Except for when they played a team that had a pulse. And that team that had a pulse was the mighty Duke Blue Devils, who beat them. People talk about Jacksonville State. People talk about Wake Forest. One team that Florida State has never lost to, even when they made it to the ACC championship, is the Duke Blue Devils, who, by the way, have made it to more ACC championships than the Miami Hurricanes. Miami Hurricanes love to tell you about their past glory. They love to tell you about their 5 rings. But there's something that I want to look into. Who has the most NCAA football championship rings? We know Alabama has a lot of made-up rings. But you know who has the most rings? Yale. You know what you never hear Yale talk about? Rings. You know why? Because those rings came when before black people could play. Those rings came when people actually went to those institutions because there wasn't but 10 colleges left in America. Like those rings came at a time when it didn't really matter. You know who also has more rings than the University of Miami? Minnesota. They have 6. 1934, 1935, 1936, 1940, 1941, and 1960. Harvard has 8. Southern Cal has more, but we don't hear about Southern Cal. Michigan as well, but even though Michigan's most of Michigan's came when we weren't far off from the Civil War. Actually, the amount of time between Michigan's first national championship and the end of the Civil War was about the same amount of time as Miami's 4th national championship. We all talk about the one that they had in 2001, but it was quite some time last time Miami won something. Princeton has more championships than Miami. So Yale, Princeton, Notre Dame, which again, Notre Dame hasn't won one since I was 4 years old. Harvard and Minnesota. So those are 5 schools that have the ring argument higher than Miami, but they don't use it because they have tact. They understand that very few people were alive to remember those moments. I asked Miami fans, where were you when they won the 3-peat in the 80s? I was drinking milk and eating chicken nuggets at lunch. I was in kindergarten the last one of those that they won. So I know very few of you guys could actually remember it because I don't remember it. Some of you guys were trying to train yourselves up. Actually, you weren't even available to be the number 1 swimmer in your daddy's sack at that point. Because you would have been on some sheets at that point. Or most of you guys, you can tell y'all were in there a little bit longer than others, because if you act like your dad, you're probably not getting very much, which is okay. No judgment here. You have the number 2 overall roster in the ACC behind only Clemson. So it's not a lack of talent; it's a lack of execution, a lack of belief, a lack of belief in who's running it. And if I had a bunch of lying ass Cubans that were running me, I'd probably have a lack of belief too. I only
Try something again.
test them.
Okay.
Still not working?
Yes, huh?
Okay. You're talking about a guy that who's I got lost my train of thought. Best wide receivers gone. You're talking about a guy whose best quarterback might be blind in one eye, and that's Ja'Carry Brown. And even with Jake Garcia or whatever his name is. Yeah, Jake. It's not Stephen Garcia. Stephen Garcia is the dude who T.O. used to pick on, right? But anyways, you're talking about a guy who I'm starting to question if he throws with the right hand. He might be left-handed. You're talking about a team that just, again, fundamentally doesn't do anything better than you. So if you don't go out there and you're not winning by 2 to 3 touchdowns, Mike, what are we doing out here? What are we practicing? What is this all for? Is the culture really changed? And I'm not saying these things to challenge Mike, because I really believe it has changed. I really believe guys are going to go make a statement, because no matter what, Florida State and Miami still mean something. One thing Miami has had, even in this lost 2 decades that they've had a ton of talent go to the NFL. They tell us every week. Why come to Miami so you can get to the league? Lose games in college, don't win anything, be miserable in college, but you're going to get paid. They're right. There is NFL talent on that roster that you will see. And what better way to make your mark on getting ready to go to the league than to go out there and dominate those guys consistently? What better way to show that Florida State is on a better track than to win convincingly and finally get to a bowl game? Then you get one more win against Syracuse, and now you've got your first winning season in I believe 5 years. You've got to do these things. And you got to learn how to be a bully. And what better way than when Miami loading up with a bunch of talent in the Seminole Hard Rock Stadium, aka Doak South, to come and see the new Miami get their asses whooped. Learn how to step on the neck. Learn how to battle. Learn how to bang. Learn how to go out here and do these different things. The person that I believe is necessary in order for Florida State to be great in this game, he has to play his best game. And he has improved. Let's just stop this shit. People keep talking about, oh, we're not good because we got Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis is the second best quarterback in the ACC behind May. May, who has a much easier, like I told somebody, they were like, oh, he's a Heisman candidate. And I asked, what would Florida State's record be if Florida State had North Carolina's schedule to this point? Florida State hasn't played NC State with their starting quarterback. They'll probably beat them. North Carolina will beat NC State at the end of the season, more than likely. North Carolina has not played Clemson. North Carolina has not played. I think they just played Wake Forest and beat them. I think that, but it's the teams that Florida State's played have been good and have been on the crust. It's amazing to see the hate that the fan base has because you have become so bitter. And again, this isn't me saying that Mike Norvell is the second coming of Nick Saban. This is me saying, look at what's out here. I don't debate non-tangibles, but the tangible metrics and the statistics state that Jordan Travis is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. In fact, he is the second best quarterback in Power 5 based upon the tangible metrics and the numbers. The team is inconsistent, which is what happens when you have a bunch of guys who have bought into a loser mentality who you're trying to work out of this. And again, the best way to work out of this loser mentality is to go out there and punch a bunch of fake ass bullies in the mouth. DJ Williams ain't walking out of that tunnel. Jonathan Vilma ain't walking out of that tunnel. Ray Lewis ain't walking out of that tunnel. The motherfuckers might be on the sidelines, but them bitches ain't coming out there and playing. Kenny Kelly, they don't even have a quarterback as good as Kenny Kelly. And now some of y'all fake Miami fans don't know who some of those names are because you just started watching football. That's all I'm saying is that go out there, punch guys in the mouth. And Mike, my PSA to you, stop being fucking cute on the goal line. You ran fullback dive twice this season and you're 2 for 2. You get on the one, stop doing direct snaps and stop doing pitches, especially to number 9. The motherfucker can't catch. Not that. He can catch a pass, but apparently a pitch or a direct snap, that's his kryptonite. And we keep fumbling it, and the teams go the other way and they score. It gives up points. You could have killed LSU. You could have, Georgia Tech was done, but you could have definitely done them as well. And sorry about the noise, but again, I don't really know if y'all want. I think I said, Chris, what did I say? 31. I think 31-14 is what I'm saying. Florida State will beat Miami by. It should be that. It should be 2 scores. Should be close to 2 scores. I hope. I hope it's more. I hope it's a blowout. I'll be down there. Yeah. That's enough of that.
Did you see what Brian and Brad went through about the marching Canes?
The marching Chiefs?
Chiefs, sorry.
So now what it is, I can't really my
Oh,
bad
okay.
stuff about
He
that.
had asked if Brian, who watches the show a lot, he was
Yeah.
asking if I'm a quiet Kings fan over here. Is it true that FSU couldn't afford the Marching Chiefs to travel? And
No,
someone answered in the chat.
now what happened was this, Brian, and and that, to be honest with you, that's not a. All jokes aside, the fees and stuff. But what they want, what happened last time, from what I'm understanding, is the Marching Chiefs get put in the fucking third row of the stadium, like, and that's not even right. That's really not classy at all. And they thought about sending a pet ban, but I'm not gonna just, because I have friends who talk bad about Miami fans, right? I'm not gonna say that our fans treat everybody the right way, because I've heard the same stories. I played Miami. I played in Miami twice. Back when Miami was actually good, and you had a culture. When we played in the old Orange Bowl, the raggedy ass motherfucker that y'all, but it was love, right? It was crazy. It shook. Like, as a guy who went on an official visit, that motherfucker used to rock, right? I heard the stories of guys getting hit with batteries, getting hit with stuff. I, as James Coleman, can never say when I ran out of the tunnel to play, or when I ran out of the locker room to play against the University of Miami, that I was ever hit by or pelted by anything. What I can say though, but I've never sat in the stands of a true rival. And what I've heard that happened to the band last time is borderline asinine, and it's bullshit. You shouldn't be threatening band kids. That doesn't make you fucking tough. Like, and I would say it's BS, but I'm gonna say me and my guy Chris were on a Kane space. Well, it was really a space about a bunch of bullshit and people lying and talking very loud. It wasn't about that was hosted by Canes. It wasn't really a Kane space, but it went from talking about HBCUs to talking about NIL stuff. And there was a bunch of people that were talking about a bunch of things that they have very little knowledge of, but very loud and passionate. And that's what Twitter has become. Twitter has become, if I type in all caps and I say words loud enough, that maybe you'll believe me, even if it's unsounded and unverified. They're having debates right now. It's always the same thing. It's not a I can't disagree with you and not like you. And the problem is everybody goes to violence so quick. And my guy Chris made a mistake about a name, got confused. And somebody comes in there and says, if you come to the game, I'm gonna kill you or something. Like, god damn. You willing to go like that? Lets me, one, as my grandma, and I don't have any. I'm not, because again, I don't give a fuck. Because I see what y'all have done to Kyrie Irving and some other people. Y'all can take whatever I say and like try to manipulate it, but you can look at my life and my works. I'm far from homophobic, but when I hear guys ready to go to violence over stupid shit, I immediately think that you're gay and you just want to spend the rest of your life with a bunch of men, and you don't have to do that. To say you want to kill somebody for having an opinion that you disagree with that might be wrong, and you're like, I'm going to assassinate or I'm going to murder you, bitch. You just want to spend your time in the gulag getting hot sausage up your ass. That's what you want, because that's what you're looking forward to. I will defend myself. I have no problem getting into violence. I'm just not looking for it because I like women. And I like my freedom. I like my kids. And I've seen the culinary delights of prison. It doesn't look very appealing to me. Somebody put up a taco with Slim Jims and cheese whiz on it. That doesn't look like something. That's not the tacos that I want to eat, man. Sorry. But if I know that's how your fan base consistently talks, I have no reason to not believe that people are pouring beer on guys in band uniforms, that people are throwing beer cans at kids in band uniforms. And I really want to tell you that you are a dick. And that's what happens. Not all Miami, again, this is not, I'm speaking in generalities and not weaponizing it and not specifics. One of my god brother who I'm going down there to go get some conch fritters with, he has been a Miami Hurricane since we've been born. And that's the person that I've known the longest in my life. Literally, when I say day one, literally my day one. The only best friend that we have had in our entire lives. I have a good friend, Brian Collins, who I went to high school with, who somehow became a Miami Hurricane fan, even though there is pictures of him in Seminole gear. probably singing the war chant, doing the chop, and playing football in Garden and Gold. Now, he was in high school and we were the Seminoles, but that's not the point. You don't have pictures of me in hurricane gear. I really believe every Miami Hurricane fan is a closet Seminole fan. And my best friend Jamila, she went to Miami. I've banged more of y'all chicks than you probably, than most of your players. I'm not gonna lie. You got really, really good ones there that have a lot of money. But at the end of the day, is it that serious? I mean, like, come on, man. Like, let's just be civil. Let's be humans. Let's be let's do all these different things. So moving on to that, from that. But again, I was ready to raise the funds if that were the case. See, that's the difference between y'all. I'm not no lying ass Cuban that's going to pretend to be a billionaire. But one thing I know how to do is raise money for a cause. And if the marching chiefs weren't going to be able to go down there because of bread, God damn it, I talked to David. I said, David, you let me know what the issue is, what the number is, and where you want to go. We will get on this horn and we will raise this motherfucking money. Because contrary to popular belief, when it's a righteous cause, for whatever reason, people give me money for it. I've figured that out. Like, I want book bags. I can raise $70,000 in a month. I want to give some colored kids Christmas gifts. I can raise $6,000 to $7,000. Bethune-Cookman was here. We raised $10,000 to get them fed. It's about who's behind me. When I can't bring the money up, that means that it's got to be something. Just some things. There's very few things I haven't been able to raise money with, and if I got to look at it, it's probably who it was associated with it or whatever. But Florida plays Texas A&M in a game in which I hope both teams can lose. Florida's 4-4. Texas A&M is 3-5. Jimbo Fisher is in a situation that is very. I don't have anything for that. I'm just talking about that. In a situation that is very similar to his last years at FSU, except for it's a lot more money on the line. I'm not going to get into it. This game is going to be dependent upon which Anthony Richardson shows up. Anthony is such a good kid that and a good friend of mine just loves him, and I know his high school coach. I just really I wish he wasn't at Florida. I think he is extremely talented. But I'm also looking at the tangible things and looking at the film. And there are times when I'm wondering what he is looking at. I just want to do with Trevor Lawrence. What I want to do with Trevor Lawrence. I want to sit down and I want to know, what were you looking at? There was a play when Florida was coming back against Georgia. He had 3 wide receivers open. He overthrew the one guy in the end zone. But the guy right next to him was wide open. And for the life of me, Georgia has not figured out how to cover the goddamn swing and wheel route out of the backfield. If Tennessee wants to beat Georgia, literally throw that ball. That's what Dan Mullen did a few years ago. That's their weakness. In that play, Georgia had a player guarding a Georgia player. Like, literally running the route with the Georgia defender. It's weird. Don't know how it happened, but that's what happened. 67% chance that per ESPN that Texas A&M wins this game at 3-5. It's at noon on ESPN. I will probably not watch it. Again, if they could all lose, that would be great for me. Personally, if I had to pick one, I would prefer Florida to lose because I want Florida to be at a point where they're ready to mail it in by the time they play us. So Florida's battling to make sure that they're bowl eligible. Texas A&M is as well. Right now, if you're doing your track, Texas A&M is playing exponentially more money to have a worse record, but it looks better. See, this is what it looks better looks like. You got rid of the coach who wasn't a great coach by the terms of him being fired at Arizona and other places. But look, you're not in a better place. You spent more money. You got this is why it's got to be a combination of right fit and resources properly applied. But I do know that the money about the NIL stuff is grossly exaggerated for anybody who's talking about that, because I happen to know people who are over there and who would have who would know. Excuse me, who would know. All right. So we got our sports talk out the way. But now we're going to talk about things that I care about that are still in relation to sports. Modern parenting is a very difficult thing for everybody to go through. We have to worry about pronouns and nouns, or I think that's it. Pronouns. We have to worry about raising great overall humans. We have to worry about a social media presence that exposes kids to a lot more things than they have ever been exposed to in the past. I'm here to tell you but in a lot of stuff that is because if you can read it or if it's on the internet, it must be true. Even though there are statistics and facts that show things that it's just not. Perfect example. Everybody talks about Chicago, how violent Chicago is, right? Did you know that in 1992, Chicago had that year? In the month of October, they had the most deadliest shooting spree. They had over like 90 shootings. The second most deadly time in Chicago history was last September, and they only had 50. So Chicago is not more deadly than what it was in the past. It's actually trending down. I heard the New York governor come on the Breakfast Club yesterday, and she was just talking about how everybody talks about how violent New York is. It's 8 million. New York City is like 8 million people in that city. Per capita, there's five. I think there's 5 murders per 100,000 people. Oklahoma has about I think Oklahoma's numbers were almost double that. A city in Oklahoma. So like it's not that it's not happening. It's not that it's not sad. It's just that the world is not more violent than what you grew up in. It's just you have more access to see it. And it's rose-colored glasses. It's just like I tell women, men don't cheat any more than they used to, and women are not angels. And your grandmother wasn't an angel. They call it backdoor Santa for a reason, and they call it the milk. Your grandma was with the milkman while Big Daddy was across town. The world is literally the exact same place. You just get the chance to see it more. Gay people were in the Bible. Remember Sodom and Gomorrah? Actually, gay people were all in Rome and all these other different places. It's not new. Now, what is new is the even cross-dressing happened. But what is new is kind of like how we put things on people. So one of the things that I don't understand, and I choose not to try to speak on it, but I'm not a dad. Is identification and what age is appropriate. In particular, what age is appropriate to talk about sex. We've talked about this, the Don't Say Gay bill. We've talked about all these different things, which is centered around sex ed. And no person has really been on the forefront more than Dwayne Wade and you know, his daughter Zaria. I think I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not. And I don't want to don't kill me and say I'm not appropriate, but parenting is hard, and especially when you're in a divorce, especially when one's high profile and one's not. Dwayne Wade has full custody of his daughter and son, biological boys, for those so I can make everybody happy. His wife's Siobhan, I believe I'm saying it right, has really been the entire time has pulled stunts. When she had custody, she pulled a stunt where she said she was homeless and she was out of Chicago acting like she needed more money for child support. Then it came out how much Dwayne Wade was paying. And Dwayne Wade did what most black men have wanted to do. If you can't take care of my kids, give them to me. But now she's suing in order to prevent Zaya from having a sex change. Now, I don't know if she's trying to. I know she identifies, she dresses as a girl, all these different things. But Dwayne Wade's ex-wife has filed paperwork asking a judge to delay their daughter Zaya's sex change for 3 more years until she turns 18. Dwayne Wade is saying she's using the daughter's sex change for financial gain, which is also what Dwayne Wade's ex-wife is accusing him of. And Dwayne Wade has been on the forefront of this. And for reasons, whether you agree or not, there are kids who go through high school that are having a hard time dealing with their sexuality. I kind of agree with the wife that just don't chop it off until you're grown. I make jokes tongue in cheek about my sons. My sons can do whatever they want to do until they're 18. My oldest though has one obligation to me. The only thing he owes me is a James Anthony Coleman IV. He can do whatever he wants to do after that, but we better have a James Anthony Coleman IV. But Dwayne Wade's whole thing within some of my disagreements with it is he said Zaya's known since she was 3. Now I've raised 3 3-year-olds. I've been involved with 2 of them a little bit more intense than I was with the other one. I do know this: if I let my young kids make all the decisions on their own, I'll go to jail. You know why? Because they won't go to school, and parents can go to jail if the kid doesn't go to school, and they'll be malnourished because Trey will eat nothing but Big Macs, chicken nuggets, and pizza with no vegetables, and Kai will eat nothing but candy. And both of them are extremely brilliant and logical. Kai identified as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. If I took the logic that a lot of these parents are taking and not guiding my kids, I would be doing everything to make sure that my son can become the Tyrannosaurus Rex that he believes he was. Now, you know what my son identifies as? Miles Morales, who is Spider-Man. If I allowed him, he would wear that goddamn Spider-Man costume every day and jump off of shit. But if I let him do that, you would throw me in jail and you would call me a improper parent. Now, before you come and accuse me, I have a god brother who we did know was gay, or we had assumptions. Jarrell, I love Jarrell to death. Jarrell was a cheerleader at Florida State when I played. Matter of fact, last home game I went to the varsity club, he came in, and you know what I did to that very openly gay motherfucker? I hugged the shit out of Jarrell because that is my family. I will whoop your ass over Jarrell. That being said, Jarrell we kind of knew, but he became more openly and flamboyant once he got to college because he's a fucking adult, and adults get to make those decisions. Imagine it, like we don't even want kids to vote, but you can't vote on the president. You can't have control over your body without a parent thing. And the reason, but you can change your sex. And the other reason why is, you know who has to pay for the fucking insurance, the co-pays on that shit? Me. Now, I'm also a proponent of saying, hey, Dwayne Wade, if y'all want her to identify as they wanted to identify, I'm not here to tell you how to be a parent. But I will say this: no matter how you feel about said parent, you decided to shoot that club up. You don't have the right. It's just like I don't like when women do it. I'm not gonna let Dwayne Wade off the hook on this. You don't get to make decisions without the other half of that chromosomes getting a chance to make that. And if she's staunch against it, you can let your daughter know that she's staunch against it, but you gotta respect as long as it's not truly affecting the health or the welfare of the child. Now, what I will say though is, here's where Dwayne Wade is right. Since this must be a new way of parenting, I guess I have to address these allegations here, which is a damn shame. While I'm on a life-changing trip in our motherland, Africa, I received a social media post about me forcing our 15-year-old child to be someone she's not and to do something against her will. These are serious and harmful allegations that have hurt our children. While none of us are surprised by Siobhan's attempt to fight Zaya's identity and her unwavering attempt to drag my name through the mud, I'm very disappointed that she continuously finds ways of centering herself and her needs without regard to our children. This report came out while Zaya was in class. This is a kid who has maintained a 4.0 GPA in honors classes while navigating all unsolicited harmful attention and debates about her gender and sexuality from those who are committed to not listen and understand her, much less even knowing her. Siobhan tried a similar attempt a decade ago with equally damaging lies and causing irreparable harm to her children. And 13 lawyers later, I was awarded sole custody of 2 kids as an active NBA player. All I ever wanted was to have my parenting time uninterrupted, as I knew that it would be very difficult time for our kids to navigate the new normal. So instead of actually trying to co-parent over the years, she left her at home to see more lawyers and has taken the time to talk to more lawyers since I filed for divorce. Then she left her home to actually see or have truly spoken and listened to Zaya over all these years. I've given her the opportunity to reach out to Zaya's teachers, doctors, and therapists over the years, and even meet her friends, so she could get her own understanding of our child's needs to her life. She won't do it. She has not been to a school, a recital, a graduation, school dance, play date, practice, parent-teacher conference, etc. And Zaya has given her every opportunity to get to know her. She won't do it. As a woman who claims to be a good Christian mother, I've yet to see her make any sacrifice or effort to leave her own home to participate in her children's lives in over a decade. Zaya is not the same 3-year-old child anymore, and she's screaming that to the world, but most importantly, to her mother. No one in our house would ever force Zaya or any children to do anything against their will, much less force an identity on them. This isn't a game for family, and definitely not for Zaya. This is her life. All the while, my wife in our village has been a rock in helping her pick up the pieces after heartbreak after heartbreak. Savannah has decided to pretty much be an absent parent to Zaya all on her own. As men, we get a bad rap for not showing up and being absentee fathers. But that's not the case here because I'm 10 toes down and I'm still going through this BS. I will not sit on my hands this time and allow her to make a mockery of my dedication to my family. The high road has run out of real estate. My lawyer will be in contact, and best of luck to the 14th lawyer as they try to unravel this book of lies that has been sold to them. I will say this. I might not agree with Dwayne on the Zaya thing, but I cannot knock the fact that he is an involved father. And there are numerous guys who go through this every day that just don't have the money to be able to fight it like that. Now, I don't agree with that part, but I do agree with this. You walk the fuck out. And it kind of goes into a great, I'm doing better with these segues. It goes into a situation where I don't have to not like all women, right, to disagree with Dwayne Wade's ex-wife. Women aren't always right. And women can be manipulative and deceitful and flat out lie. I believe that in this case of a young Primo. Now, if you haven't been paying attention, there is a rising star with the San Antonio Spurs, who is who was with the San Antonio Spurs, Joshua Primo. He was released by the Spurs, and there are teams that are going to look at picking him up. But he was basically, if you just looked at it on the surface, my man was out here being Deshaun Watson with basketball, just whipping his thing out to anybody who would see it. And the organization had to like let him go. And all you thought was in your head, like, man, this is a freak ass bull right here. Like, what the hell is going on? And what happened though is that the Spurs released a statement saying the kid has been seeking help to deal with previous trauma that he has suffered, and he's taking the time to focus on mental health treatment more. He wants to learn how to discuss these things. One of the things that we don't discuss about men, actually, it was a tweet that came out. And I might even put this up on my poll, like, especially about athletes. How many of us, our first sexual encounter would be considered rape now? By an older woman, by somebody else or that kind of coerced us and did this. Few of us actually got a chance to be like we've had interactions like the J. Cole song, Wet Dreams, but very few of us actually had those things. Now, I personally tell people all the time, when I started having sex, I knew what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew what I was getting into. And I was going to enjoy it. I was not coerced. I just was glad that I had an older woman teach me. But we treat men and these kind of allegations so much differently, in particular high profile guys, because one of the things is who's going to believe me. I've had a teammate who was charged with rape. The funniest thing about the rape charge with my teammate Travis Johnson is that Travis Johnson, All-American D tackle, first round draft pick, had literally come off of a major shoulder surgery that I had. And the girl who accused him of rape was an all ACC shot put throw. That motherfucker could squat more, hang clean, and bench more than me at that point. The girl was a big girl. Gorgeous, but a big girl. I had that surgery. All you got to do, if I didn't say something you like, tap me on my shoulder and I'm dropping. They literally took that to trial because nobody believed her because they could tell that it was a lie. I've had guys tell me that girls came up to them and said, "If you don't have sex with me, I'm just going to tell everybody you raped me." You people don't want to know what it's like to actually be a young black male in a world that actually has been designed to like paint you as this fucking beast, this over sexualized, hyper testosterone driven, angry beast, but will praise you for those same exact things in athletics. But Primo was actually going to see this lady that is now suing him to get help for what was wrong with him. And he was seeing them because he's 19 and he doesn't know who the fuck to go see for counseling. Very few 19-year-olds are equipped with that. The only thing that makes people think he's more mature is that he was blessed with a skill set that very few have. And we see with Kanye that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Primo's attorney is basically coming back stating this. Primo is a 19-year-old NBA player who has suffered a lifetime of trauma and challenges. He is now being victimized by his former team-appointed sports psychologist, who is playing to ugly stereotypes and racially charged fears for her own financial benefit. They go on in other statements to basically say that at no given time did she tell Primo that he was even exposed. The boy didn't know he was exposed. He was probably doing like I do. When you wear balling shorts, you don't have you go free balling. It feels great. And now I'm thinking this dude might just, you never know. Man might be blessed. Perfect example. 2002 is when I graduated. We had a senior photo shoot when we were in the courtyard of the new high school. We made a 0 and we made a 2, right? I'm wearing my Bobby Bowden football camp garnet shorts with a black string, black drawstring. Back then, we all wore our pants baggy and had a white t-shirt. So, but to make sure that it didn't fall off my ass, I had to tighten the drawstring, right? So the drawstring was long. And I tucked the drawstring out so that wasn't hanging out in front. I tucked it in my shorts. Now I will say I did do one thing inappropriate. I kind of just I did this. I didn't like lift it up, but I just had my hands and I was like showing my whites. The drawstring went down my leg. And you could see a black object out of my legs. Do you know what this white woman told me that was our yearbook director? They were about to kick me out of school because they thought I whipped my dick out on the senior picture. The first thought was that my penis was out. Through my goddamn pants, through my shorts. Now I was wearing drawers then, but through my shorts. The first thought that teacher had, they called me out of class. They were angry. They were livid. They were lighting into me. And I was like, what are y'all so mad about? Like, what the fuck? They were like, look at you. Your thing is out. My what? The tallywhacker. Your what? Your dick is out. Your dick is hanging through your shorts, son. And I'm like, I look at the best and show me the picture. I said, ma'am, with all due respect, I think I'm okay. I can promise you my dick ain't that big, though. I can promise you that shit. My dick does not go. It's to see what she's thinking about that. And you know what happened when I told them that? Oh, because they knew what was going to happen when that little pale woman came up there. It was going to be some furniture moving if they came up there and tried to suspend their kid because they sexualized and radicalized her black son. And that's what this lady's doing. Professional, therapist, knows you're working with somebody with the problem. And instead of looking at the opportunity to help that kid, you look at the opportunity to get yourself paid. Hope your ass gets fired. And I hope the kid gets some help because you can't keep whipping your dick out to everybody. But it's just not a good look. And again, that's another woman. It's not all women. Doesn't mean all women are lying. It just means that women have the capacity to be able to use their to weaponize their femininity. Yeah, it's just wild. And I wasn't talking about this, but let's my hate o'clock is I hate apologies. I don't hate apologies per se. I hate fake apologies. And I hate when you have to beat down somebody to get the apology. Um, if you haven't listened to the Kyrie Irving situation, one thing I will say is this: weaponizing generalities. It was some fucked up. It's been some fucked up shit that's happened in the world, and what I hear all the time when it comes to blacks, right, is that it wasn't me. We have a governor that's running again. Our current governor is running for election that tells people that it's not right to teach that white people own slaves because it would make white kids feel bad, and they didn't. So we can't teach history that actually built America because it would make people feel bad. And I'm told that I have to get over it when I shouldn't. But yet, we all can remember 9/11, and we can all remember the atrocities. And we should remember those atrocities so we never repeat them again. What happened in Germany and what happened even here in America with Jewish people. But if you the word anti I have not heard the word anti-Semitic this much in my life until the past week. And what happens is sometimes I don't know what we are arguing about per se because the translation gets lost. Anti-Semitic means hostile or prejudiced against Jews, meaning like you literally don't like them and you're doing something and you're making that act. But it means more as well. Let me see if I can get the rest of it. Anti-Semitism goes beyond Jewish people. It goes to basically Middle Eastern, so Arabs, Assyrians, Armenians. And it's a hatred. It was basically the basis of these things. But to sum everything up, Kyrie Irving shared a tweet or shared in a tweet a link to Amazon about a book and a video that he viewed interesting that was inaccurate that he didn't know. But I want to reiterate. He shared it to Amazon. And before I get into that, actually, because my guys are Arabic, Green Acre Sporting Goods, Green Acre Sporting Goods, go to outdoor shop. Black Friday sales coming out now. We got they got the Tauruses on sale. They've got two different types of AR-15. They've got the rifle version, and they've got one that's more like a pistol with more of a pistol grip. That you could that's shorter and compact. All different things are going to be different specials coming on, but make sure you go out there, check them out. Again, you don't have to go purchase something for that outdoor lover. You could get a gift certificate for them as well, and they could go in there and have a ball being at Green Acre Sporting Goods. If you tell them Big Game sent you, they'll do some things for you. But Kyrie made a statement, and then he apologized ish for the air. But we got the video. You got the, let me see which video you got up here. So I want you to hear about it, hear it from him. And to me, this statement was enough. Like, yeah, that one right there. Because you have to understand what he was fighting against, per se, why he was angry in this. He's angry because he's being called something that he doesn't believe he is. But go ahead, push play.
That reaction and some of the things that you did
hurt people.
Yeah, I think I can ask a better
You got the
question.
video?
Just where were you when I was a kid, figuring out that 300 million of my ancestors are buried in America? Where were you guys asking those same questions when I was a kid, dealing with learning about
Actually, this kind of
traumatic
we can't
events
zip
of
past
my
this because
familial
just to
history
summarize this
and where
part,
I'm proudly
he's
come from?
basically saying like, where were y'all
Traumatic.
at when I was learning about the atrocities that happened in America? Why do y'all only bring up these things when
You
it
guys
comes to
told me that I
Jewish
wasn't worth
people?
anything,
Where were
and I
you when
came
I
from
was
a
doing
slave
some good
class,
things?
and then I come from a people that are meant to be treated the way we get treated every day. So I'm not here to compare anyone's atrocities or tragic events that their families have dealt with generations of time. I'm just here to continue to expose things that our world continues to put in darkness. I'm a light. I'm a beacon of light. That's what I'm here to do. You guys ask me questions about basketball, I give you my expert opinion. You guys ask me about other things, I give you my opinion, and it's met with whatever you believe the perception or the deception is. You guys investigate my life every day, and you justify it by serving your own purpose, which I honor. I would like the same respect in return, figuring out just like anyone else. So please keep that same energy when we're talking about anti other things, because just because I post a documentary doesn't mean I'm anti Semitic, and doesn't mean that I'm automatically standing with everyone that is believing in that. So it's unfortunate timing that we're in, but I'm glad that I could stand on the truth because I'm not afraid of these mics, these cameras. I used to be looking everyone in the eye and telling them the truth. But I'm proud of who I am. Any label that you put on me, I'm able to dismiss because I study. I know the Oxford Dictionary. You look it up, right? It's one of the biggest mistakes I had in being a
Yeah,
kid
you can push plus.
was
So
not.
basically, what he didn't do, he didn't apologize, and in that, and that's not. I'm cool. I'm actually okay with this because what he's apologizing for is, you know what, my bad. I posted a link, and I'm apologizing if anybody was offended by that. I'm not anti-Semitic. I just thought it was interesting. I'm not telling people to go buy it. I'm not telling people to do this. And to be honest with you, I would have never known anything about this had some journalist not brought this up in a press conference. That's the only reason we know that the wildest part in this whole thing is that the thing that people are trying to get rid of, you have literally given it the most publicity that is probably ever got. Now, I want to say this because it does segue into the next segment. We're not getting there yet. That thing is on Amazon. You want to know what nobody has tweeted out about yet? Why is it on Amazon? If it's anti-Semitic and you're upset with Kyrie for sharing it, why aren't you boycotting the people who are actually benefiting from it? Now, I will say everything that he's getting is the people's right. Everything that I say or anything that anybody says, there is a right for you to have an internal and externalized response to it. I don't necessarily have to agree with it. I definitely don't agree with the NBA's response to it, but I also understand it. Adam Silver is Jewish. You can't have your boss thinking you're anti-Semitic. That's just like if I'm somebody's boss and they're anti-black. It's probably not the best fit. It does give the NBA a black eye. It does do a lot of these different things. But the one thing I really and truly thought, because it's consistent to Kyrie, Kyrie can be very stupid in a lot of things. I don't believe in flat earth theory. I don't believe in a lot of these things. But Kyrie has been and proven to be a principled individual. Doesn't make it right, but he stands true to his principles. This is the guy who refused to get the jab. They threatened him with money. They threatened him with everything. This man said, I'm not taking that shot. I didn't agree with them, but I understood. And I was like, man, that is your right. They slapped this man with a 5-game suspension. You know what this motherfucker went and did? I'll tell you what this motherfucker went and did. It hurt me, dog. I'm very upset about it. Did not like it. I do not like it. But Kyrie Irving, on his IG, while doing research on YHWH, I posted a documentary that contained some false anti-Semitic statements, narratives, and language that were untrue and offensive to the Jewish race religion. And I take full accountability and responsibility for my actions. I am grateful to have a big platform to share knowledge, and I want to move forward by having an open dialogue to learn more and grow from this. To all Jewish families and communities that are hurt and affected from my post, I am deeply sorry to have caused you pain, and I apologize. I initially reacted out of emotion to being unjustly labeled anti Semitic instead of focusing on the healing process of my Jewish brothers and sisters that were hurt from hateful remarks made in the documentary. I want to clarify any confusion on where I stand fighting against anti Semitism by apologizing for posting the documentary without context and factual explanation outlining the specific beliefs in the documentary I agreed with and disagreed with. I had no intention to disrespect any Jewish cultural history regarding the Holocaust or perpetuate any hate. I am learning from this unfortunate event and hope we can find understanding between us all. I am no different than any other human being. I am a seeker of truth and knowledge, and I am who I am. All right, if you were going to just do this less than 24 hours later,
because he's a jerk.
You should have just done that from the general. And what it does is it further tarnishes the thing of people not being able to stand on things. I'm not saying stand on hate because I heard ignorance, but I didn't hear anything hateful to a Jewish person from Kyrie Irving. Now, I don't know what's in that link. I don't know what's in that movie or that documentary. I have no intention of watching it. I kind of do because y'all keep telling me that it's all in there. And that's what's and I don't even know if you understand how this marketing shit works. But the more you talk about something, the more you want to do it. Just like I have no intention of listening to Drake and 21 Savage's album. But because Meg Thee Stallion is angry because of alleged disses, I kind of want to hear what they was talking about. All that does is put money in their pockets. The best response sometimes is no response if it's not a true slight. But my problem isn't with Jewish people. It's not with the response. It's not with Kyrie Irving being punished. My problem is with the inconsistencies in punishment. Adam Silver wants to talk with Kyrie Irving about his anti-Semitic march, but he has yet to go meet with the Phoenix Suns owner, who literally made a bunch of black stereotypical and racist remarks. Kyrie Irving gets suspended for not doing anything but posting a link. But nothing, but it's a team suspension that was encouraged by the commissioner. But like, let's just talk about the inconsistency. Draymond Green could literally go and commit a felony assault on a teammate and face no suspension. And you have no comment. It's sold on fucking Amazon, man. And yet there has been no cause to boycott Amazon. Which is what you should do. I'm not saying don't hold him accountable. What I'm saying is be consistent with the fucking energy because you're not solving the problem. Your problem is that this information is available, but you're going after the pawn and not the whole big deal, which is why, not just with them, it's why I have a problem with Kanye and this causing this shit and talking about all these different things. Nah, dog, name names and let's attack the names. Let's stop speaking in generalities and be fucking specific. That's how you get real change. Because nobody's going to, that's just my issue. Because I'm seeing a lot of hurt and a lot of things like that. But like, what's wild is, again, but you know why? But I know why you won't go after Amazon, because everybody thinks Jeff Bezos still owns Amazon. You know what Jeff Bezos is? Half Jewish. So is this kind of like it's okay if you're Jewish? Like I can say nigga because I'm black. It is not considered racist, but like, so is it anti? Again, so I'm trying to figure out my understanding, because you know what Jeff Bezos is doing? Jeff Bezos with Jay-Z, or Jay-Z being mentioned as the person. Jay-Z doesn't have anywhere near enough money to buy an NFL franchise. But Jeff Bezos is trying to go purchase the Washington Commanders, which have been put up on sale as of Wednesday, if I remember correctly, by Bank of America Securities and Exchange. Again, we can sell it to a guy that's had a link on there about anti-Semitism. It's cool for him to buy it because that's what we're angry at. I just don't to me, it might be missed why I'm not mad about it. I'm just like, yo, this is kind of crazy. But the U.S. Attorney's Office in Eastern District of Virginia has opened a criminal investigation into allegations that the commanders engaged in financial improprieties. It's funny because just like crime, when they can't get you on the real shit, the IRS, the tax people, gonna always get you. Just think about all the major criminals. Like they couldn't get them selling drugs, couldn't put drugs on you. What they could do is they can get your ass for the tax stuff. So all the frat house shit, the stuff where you can look up under women's skirts and all those things, that's not what got him to probably have to get up off the block. It's this right here that's gonna have to get him up off the block. And I could care less because I don't really like Daniel Snyder either. I am all about an African American man getting an opportunity to be a partial owner, just like there's a guy who's a partial owner for the Denver Broncos. I love that. That's how we get into these conversations, and that's how you start to make change. And I don't mind Jeff Bezos getting into it, but it say he's looking into buying it. But somebody who I don't think Black America knows enough about, and this is my alpha male moment. Alpha male brought to you by Alpha Male Clinic. Jax, get that swagger back. If you got to go out, if you're not feeling good about yourself, everything makes you insecure. You feel like you have to bitch and you have to cry about every little fucking thing. But alpha males can go out there with their chest puffed out and live their best life and do whatever they need to do. And this is a guy who is about that life. And he also is preparing a bid for the Washington Commanders. I saw a good tweet that if you want to be in control or have power, you have to have 3 M's. Money, media, military. You have to have 2 of those 3s to be able to make sure you're able to do what you want to do. Byron Allen has 2 of the 3 M's. Byron Allen, if you don't know who that is, he's one of the quietest Black billionaires in the country. He's been a billionaire for quite some time. We've all used his service. We all know what the Weather Channel is. And he also did a landmark case, which actually almost, he was on the Breakfast Club about it, but quietly almost brought slavery back. Hold on, we gotta make sure I find it. And he was a washed comedian, and he's done a lot of stuff, but he's just made a lot of moves. He took Comcast all the way to the Supreme Court and forced them to settle for $10 billion. And it opened up TV channels to be purchased and broken up. And he owns multiple TV channels. He's also the guy behind HBCU Go, which is a streaming service to bring all Black college football games through the CBS app. This man is what change, progress, and activism is supposed to look like. It's not like he ain't up here just saying the boogeyman. He gave a target. He went after the target. He fought it with his own money, and he didn't sit there and fucking cry and bitch about it. He has the media. He has the money. And now he's trying to go and he's trying to purchase an NFL franchise. He attempted to buy the Denver Broncos and was unsuccessful. He wants to be the first Black majority owner of an NFL team. See, my beef with Kanye isn't that Kanye is yelling and screaming, or even with Kyrie, which I don't have a beef with Kyrie. I get Kyrie. Kyrie's consistent. But don't come and tell me that we're all sheep and that we're all doing something and you don't have a plan of action besides the bitch crying complaint. Nobody respects a man that all he does is bitch crying complaint. Go out there and be active with it. What I see, and this was wild, is guys like Umar Johnson, who says some righteous things, will say stuff like he's not pro-Black agenda because he has a white wife. But here's a guy who saw a problem that there wasn't enough representation in Hollywood or in media. And he put his money and he devoted his life to doing it. It made him a billionaire. Made him some enemies. He fought those enemies and he won. He's showing us a blueprint. And he's not doing it flashy. He's not doing it in $10,000 Balenciagas. In fact, he's not even trying to sell you a $500 sneaker. Do you understand? Just I want people, because Kanye attacked Shaq, and I don't agree with what Shaq and Charles Barkley said, because Charles Barkley is so counter-revolutionary to what he used to be. But here's what I want people to get. Kanye went after Shaq and said that Shaq isn't, Shaq works for this guy. He knows who he is. Shaq, a guy who signed a landmark Reebok deal, but then realized that the kids that looked like him could not afford his shoe. So instead of staying there, he went to Walmart, and they came up with a concept at Walmart to where he could sell a shoe that was under $20. I don't give a damn what you say about Shaq. That's pro poor people, pro black. Not having an item that people might kill. And who am I to judge? I'm gonna buy Yeezys. I'm gonna buy J's. But when you have you have one product that's gonna have people die to get that they don't have to have, even though shoes are necessary, or you have a shoe that does have a guy's popular name on it, that's $20 that can get you what you need to get until you can afford those. Giving people jobs, coming to the community. Shaq goes to Walmart and and wipes out layaways. I posted Ali Sadiq when he was on the 85 South show. And Ali Sadiq says, I can't follow. He's like, y'all follow people who have a love for tangible things or material things. And that's who your leaders are. And I'm a guy who loves being fly, but I'm also a guy that would try to spend my last dime to make sure others do it, even if it's for reasons for them just not to rob me. I question some of you guys. I question the fact that some of you guys are raising fresh baked humans because your mentality is off. Malcolm X talked about, why are our leaders always athletes, musicians, and entertainers and comedians? Why aren't they the intellectuals? A guy who admitted that he doesn't even read books is the guy that y'all are out here trying to follow.
I don't get it.
I get Kyrie. Kyrie went to Duke. Kyrie is well traveled. He was born in Melbourne, Australia. His dad played there. His dad went to Boston University, a good college. Misguided, but I can understand where he's thinking. I don't understand what some of you people are thinking.
Kyrie's on shrooms.
And lastly, I'm going to end it like this. And you can click on this. This is the last. It's the fake causes. Like, a lot of you have fake causes. You fake care that Meg Thee Stallion may or may not have been shot by Tory Lanez. You fake care about how Nicki Minaj is married to a child pedophile. You fake care about these things, but you make these people rich. So I know you don't care. And nothing's worse than when a guy like Luther Campbell, who much of the sex and debauchery that we all critique, we can kind of bring it right back to him. But I love Luke. Luke does a lot of good things. He puts his money where his mouth is. But sometimes our fake caring and our fake need to say something that sounds smart and intelligent in this Twitter space really hinders us on things. Luke posted, it's quicker to get a gun in the black community than it is to get a book. And that is the problem. I grew up in a rough neighborhood, and yeah, guns aren't hard to get, but like, bro, we have scholastic book fairs. Like, we used to look forward to that shit. We had Book It. We had all these different ways to get fucking books. If you didn't have a book in the hood, it's because you don't want a book. See, it's like ESPN. You know why ESPN during the draft every year gives us those sad ass black kid stories? Damn, look at James. Look, Trey Coleman from Florida State, outside linebacker. his story is so tragic. His father passed when he was 9 years old and left his mother to struggle when she was in combat. She's blind in one eye, and he had to hop to and he had to make grilled cheese sandwiches for him and his brother and drive. You know why they sell the poor narrative? Is because this is what the poor narrative is. The hood has plenty of money. The hood has plenty of opportunities. Drug dealers give back to school jobs better than anybody else. But you know who doesn't? Those who made it.
Right.
If you feel that it's hard to get books in the hood, Uncle Luke, you know who has all the ability in the world to change that shit? You. I'm a thousandaire that knows how to pull strings and to get shit. There's programs like there are programs like Read America that will literally go into elementary schools and tutor kids how to read.
In all fairness, he is giving to the football players.
He does.
You know that.
Again, I'm not knocking Luke in his Luke will always be cool with me outside that he's a hurricane because he does put his money where his mouth is sometimes. But this was a dumb statement that's not just made by Luke, that was co-signed by a bunch of other people. That's also and some of them were picking on him, but it's also made perpetuated by a bunch of other guys. Stop painting poor as brown. Stop painting uneducated as brown. Unmotivated, maybe. Misplaced energies, maybe. But, guns are easy to get anywhere. Relatively. It's part of the reason. But again, it goes back to my whole point. We're using generalizations. I watched the show, The Equalizer, the original Equalizer, which was awful, just as bad as the TV show, just as bad as Queen Latifah's Equalizer. None of them are anywhere near what the movie The Equalizer is. But it showed a high school. If you've watched TV and you show high schools in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, in particular in the Northeast, that shit looked terrible. It looked like hell. I remember I was actually terrified to go to high school because I thought high school was going to be, they're going to give people wedgies. Oh, I remember this one. Freshmen get hazed the first week of school. Yeah. To find out not a goddamn thing happened to me. The statistics show that it's not as bad, dude. It's bad, but it's not as bad. It's the same, which is probably bad. But if you really want change, guys, you really feel this, I feel what the hood is, give kids more options. That's why I do football camps, but I got to do more. The last thing the hood needs is another football camp. Because everybody's not making it out the hood running go routes. Some of these kids are I got a running back right now that's 5'4", and his dad's mad that he's not playing. Your son needs to go read books. Just be happy that he didn't get cut. The reality is we need STEM. We need to, again, the last thing the hood needs is another mixtape. But if you can mix and produce, you can create. You can take that energy and go do more. That's why I did my STEM camps. If you can make beats or you know how to do that, you know how to produce a podcast. There's a whole world right there that's new world making money. You could talk about your environment and not have to do it in poems anymore to become a millionaire. Look at Stephen A. Smith. Look at a lot of these guys. They're you can talk about those things. We need more teachers. We need more chemists. We need more doctors. We need more things of that nature. And you know how you get those guys to want to do that? Have them come back. That's why I do the book bag drops. I do the book bag drops so they can see at least once or twice a year, they're going to see somebody that looks way different than what they consistently see. I wanted to be a drug dealer, not because I was interested in the metric system. I wanted to be a drug dealer because they had all the hoes and they had the money and they had the cool cars. And the only people who had that comparable to the drug dealers were the athletes and the entertainers. So you're giving kids three options. Statistics and government programs have shown that when you give kids opportunity and hope to earn a living, it actually detracts away from violence. Now, when the government's taking it away, It's our job to supplement because we make enough money to be able to do it, which is what the fucking Shaqs of the world have done. Which is why I can't say that they're not pro the cause or that they're just working for the man when the people who have been working for the man the whole time signed the fucking contract, and when it doesn't work out in their favor, now they're mad. That's called a temper tantrum. Anyways, on that note, I hope we beat the fuck out of Miami. And I hope to chop it up with a lot of you guys. Check me out. I'll be bouncing around from a bunch of different tailgates. We're raising money for Louisiana Lafayette game. Boys Town, USA is going to be partnered up again. Probably going to give them about 100 tickets to get some kids who are in group homes. We're trying to, if you know of any companies in the city, in Tallahassee or surrounding areas that have kids with with disabilities, I want to be able to give some tickets to those guys. We got 250 tickets that we're going to probably give away. If you want to partner with that, let me know. Still trying to find some funds for this Thanksgiving drive that we're going to try to do. I think still don't have much information on it outside of where I wanted to be at. But other than that, man, y'all make sure y'all check out the pods. You know, y'all want to be revolutionary. Shit, go sponsor the people. Look out for the people you know. It's the most revolutionary thing you can do. Y'all talking about cancel culture. Shit. Motherfucker, like I said, motherfucker got canceled from 1010 and y'all motherfuckers still listen to that shit. And I don't hate y'all. Y'all can't even like a YouTube goddamn podcast. Not preaching to the people who are listening, obviously. You have liked it, but that's enough of my soapbox. Monday we'll be talking sports. Hopefully the Jags win. Hopefully the Noahs win. Hopefully my son's Pop Warner team will win. I appreciate y'all chopping it up with me. I will see you guys next week.